wonderful day. I'm Jen Mogg, Mother of Gratitude, and I hope that everything is going well in your life and that you're having a life full of gratitude. It's the small things that really make everything happen. And today we have our simulcast with Neil Haley from The Neil Haley Show. Welcome, Neil.
Hey, you know what? I'm excited to talk, and it's always great to get it out to the world, the different things. But I love your background today, Jen. Always showing these awesome backgrounds, and I just give you a kudos to this design part of your house. I can't show that. I have to go to my good old green screen, Zoom screen. But look, I love your background today, and we have an unbelievable guest that understands that the importance of just
Aw,
of the process of what makes things so great. And so, go ahead and introduce our guest.
you're so sweet. Thank you. This is my abstract emotionalism artwork. Abstract emotionalism is a Richard Grieco. He came out with the whole genre of abstract art in this way, and mine's made with ashes. So
Oh,
that's how I do my artwork. So you're going to be seeing more of it in the background, more pieces like my little art gallery.
awesome. And
So
so, introduce our guest. Yeah.
I'm really excited because I love her. She has this video on YouTube called Rise Up, and it has Michelle Obama saying some stuff in it, and it is amazing. She's an Emmy nominated choreographer. Chloe Arnold is with us. Yay! Thank you, Chloe.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here.
We're happy to have you, and you know, you'll get, and I can see the gratitude you have in your life for what you do, and the amazing things you're doing. So, go ahead, Jem, with your first question for Chloe.
Hey, Chloe, thank you so much. You were such an inspiration, I have to
Thank
say,
you,
first
Jen.
and foremost. Tell us where you grew up.
I grew up in Washington D.C., dancing, and at first just very recreationally, and then around 8 or 9, I started to realize that this was what I wanted to do with my life, and so I just asked my mom for as many lessons as I could get, and I just had the most incredible teachers that really inspired me, and you know helped me helped me know that this dream was possible.
And so
That
you
is
felt
awesome.
because you felt that dream from the what made you feel that you had that dream? That's because everyone, you know, when they find their talent and they finally figure it out and say, I want to go forwards towards it and say I can really do well at this.
Yes.
When did you figure that out?
So I saw the movie Tap um, when I was like 9. And that was the thing that made me go, I want to do that. I saw Gregory Hines tap dancing in a movie, starring and acting, and I said, that's what I want to do. So then, within a year after seeing that movie in theaters, I got to meet him in person and take his class and watch him perform. So that was what turned it from this, fantasy space to reality. And even though at that point I definitely was not good enough yet for any of that, I already had the belief system that it was possible.
Go ahead,
The
next.
belief system in yourself is everything.
Yes, truly.
And to have Gregory Himes, I love that. That's one of my favorite movies. And I think because of him, Tap has it's still here.
100%. He truly lit the torch to keep the art going. And that's what our mission is to continue to carry that torch and just bring the love of tap dance to the world.
And see, and that's and it's so it's such a great art form, isn't it, Chloe? It
Yes.
really, I mean, you hear the sound of it and just say, and just when you hear how fast it can go, and all this, you're like, wow, it can just stand alone, which not
Thank
certain
you.
things could just stand alone. You could just listen to tap and
Yes.
nothing else. It's really,
Yeah.
there's not many things where it could carry itself.
I
Tap,
love that you say that. It is music. We are an instrument. We're a moving instrument, and it's really challenging, but it's very fulfilling. And I'll tell you, I have never ever seen a person put on a pair of tap shoes and not have fun. From the most basic skill, first day, right, to, seasoned. Once you hear the sound with your feet, everybody becomes a kid. It's amazing.
And you know, Jen, I'm going to jump to the next question. I think of tap dance and I think of, again, singing in the rain. Singing in the rain brings it. What about you, Jen, when you think of tap?
When I think of tap, I think of Gregory Himes. But
Yeah.
I also think it's growing up, it was one of the first dances that I think everybody's introduced to, right, Chloe?
Yes, it's part of the, the three piece. You get tap, ballet, and jazz in a combo class, and it is what everybody first takes. And I think that for me, I'm trying to translate the art form in a way that gets young people to stick with it. Because I think that what happens is as they become just older, there aren't enough shows, movies, experiences that make the parents say, oh, yeah, you got to keep doing this so you can end up going to be in this movie or this show. And so I'm trying to create an industry that helps foster why a kid would train so hard so they actually have somewhere to go once they're skilled.
Yeah.
Well, and
And
when you're tap dancing, you are making music with your feet. It's I don't know, like one of the only
Yes,
dances that there dances
yes,
you
it
do
is.
where
You're a
you're
musician.
automatically making, you have your own rhythm, you have your own stuff to go with it. If we can integrate that into modern music, it would
Exactly. You
be
totally get
amazing.
it. That's
And
exactly what I love to do with Syncopated Ladies. And we've been fortunate because we've had a lot of incredible artists share the work that we've done to their music, like Beyonce, Janet Jackson, Sierra, Pharrell. Um, and it's the most rewarding to my spirit because I had this vision for a very long time that I wanted to put tap dance in pop culture and with pop music. And it's really amazing when the artist acknowledges it and celebrates it.
yeah, definitely. It's just something that you get excited when you do it, and kind of explain the role of a choreographer when it comes to
Yeah,
something like. So you're a choreographer not just for tap, right? Other
exactly.
other forms too. But what
Yeah,
is the job of a choreographer? I don't know that job. I'm
I
being
love it. I
I'm
love
being
it.
honest with you, and I didn't research it either. But I mean,
I'm
I like it's
glad.
kind of funny. I ask directors or producers, and that's the stuff that Jen does, and I can't really tell the difference in certain
Yes.
ways, because unless you're doing it, you don't know it.
Yeah, I love that you asked that question. It's so important to like learn about what other people do, right? And so choreography is, ultimately is the person who is responsible for directing all of the movement in a show or TV, any show, TV, film, or live show. So what will happen is the directors and producers will hire me to come in. They'll give me a concept based around whatever the writers have, designed. So I work with Late Late Show with James Corden. So they'll have a concept. And then my job is to imagine how it moves and to hire the dancers that I think would bring it to life with whatever genre of dance I decide is most fitting for the music. So like, let's say to be more concrete, if we're doing Aladdin, we promoted Aladdin the movie. So we had Will Smith come dance with us in the crosswalk. So that's a musical.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. So it's a musical. So I know Will Smith is coming. I know what the musical is about. So now I'm thinking what dancers can really exemplify that feeling. Then I hire those dancers and then I create moves along with my team. I have a team of assistants and associates who work with me to get this vision to life. And a lot of times there's a very little amount of time to do it. So we're activated. And then once we're shooting the project, then my job as choreographer is to oversee it. So when Will Smith came to set, I teach him his moves. Then I integrate him into the whole ensemble and how it moves. And then while we're filming, I go in, I give notes. I say, okay, that worked this time, or actually, can you move a little left, or make sure don't miss that arm,
Exactly.
etc.
So I'm understanding it more in that way, but it's just they're so involved in that
Oh,
process
Oh,
because it
100%.
won't become an art form without that situation. You think that Will Smith brings in the background dancers, and that's not
No,
true. And
not
that's
at all.
he skates on set.
Yeah.
yeah,
Will Smith had about 20 minutes in his allotted schedule for me to integrate him into what we had rehearsed the day before and all day. So we had already had our whole team together. Then I I have a stand-in for all my celebrities. They stand in, and then when the celebrity comes, they watch what they do. And then I say, all right, here's what you got to do. And then I teach them, and then they're in there.
Holy
And then you
cow! And
say,
they
go.
they're able to do it. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, Will Smith is a super, super mega talent. So he's so swift and like, and so nice, like the nicest ever. So it made it really, really fun to work with him. And that's what's fun about choreography and filmmaking and TV is it's collaborative. So it's not just one person who's responsible for one thing. It's everybody's got to make this one project shine. And there are so many moving parts. So everybody's got to be really great at what they do.
Go ahead, Jen, with your next question.
And the costumes that go with it.
Yes, yes. Our wardrobe costume designers are incredible, and I'm so glad that that's not my job because I love like just seeing what they come up with, and it's so far beyond what I would have thought of, right? And again, that's what makes it so fun and collaborative is that everybody's a specialist at their department.
Wow. And that's the thing that's missing is the creative of arts. We have to continue to keep the creatives going. If we don't have creative
100%.
people, how are we going to have creative stuff for us to watch, to view, to
Exactly. Exactly.
if creatives disappear?
I'm with you 100%. And that's why even during this pandemic where, you know, so much of the world shut down and they've made it really hard for artists to survive and thrive. What's exciting is that artists will always prevail and will always find another way. And, you know, we've been dancing it up in our living rooms. We have had programs all quarantine, and we've reached over 25,000 dancers around the world. We have like people from 53 countries dancing with us online. So it's like, you know what? We got lemons, we made lemonade. And I think that's what artists do, right? They keep going.
Definitely.
And I think it's something that the artists are going to be able to do with what we're putting together with Gratitude Radio Network so that we can all make money no matter where anyone's located throughout the world.
I love that.
It's my passion to be able to put our information back into our hands. And so our filmmakers can make money.
Yes.
And have the streaming that we're wanting. And that's something that we're working on. So I want to go to something. What did you consider was your big break?
In 2013, I had kind of resolved with my dance company that we were no longer going to wait for people to decide like, let's get some girls tap dancing in our show. We're going to make our own thing. And so I invested some money that I, you know, earned from performing into making tap music videos. And so we did our first one was to Rihanna, our second one was to Beyonce. And our one to Beyonce was like an ode of appreciation because she had really inspired us. And so she ended up sharing that video and celebrating us on her social media. And so then the video went from, you know, maybe 50,000 views to millions. And then Paula Abdul saw that video and she invited us to perform on So You Think You Can Dance. And then we ended up winning what was called the So You Think You Can Dance Crew Battles. And we were trending on Twitter worldwide, #1. And then we were able to sell out a world tour. So that would be like 2013 was magical because it was just this.
Definitely seems like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like.
And then that's where. So before that, you weren't known at all, Chloe. And
I was known in the dance world only, like, you know, niche, very, very niche. Now, what's fun is that people that are around the world who are into dance, meaning people that might watch TikTok videos a lot or people that might watch Instagram or YouTube, they tend to know our work from, you know, having seen it online. So it's really amazing because we now have over 50 million views online. I don't know 50 million people, which is really cool because that means that all these people that are from different backgrounds are enjoying something in common. And I think that's so special about the arts.
Wow.
That's everything about the arts, because she's literally working on her feet.
Yes, yes, truly.
So,
I'm just really appreciative of this journey and what my sister and I always, my sister's my business partner, dance partner. She and I always want dance to be a tool of joy and love. And that is the, it's so human and it's so basic. And so it's something that we feel like can reach everyone.
see, and when you talk about that break, then before that, so you weren't on working on big shows like James Corden before getting ready
No,
for 2013?
no, my 20, let's see, 2015 is when I actually started choreographing television. 2018, I was nominated for an Emmy. So and 2003 is when I actually started the dance company. So 2003, it took 10 years for us to save the money, build the skill, build the vision, build the team, get the stylist, the wardrobe, the hair, the makeup, the whole thing to look super professional, right? In a way that could
Wow.
be, you know,
A
really
brand.
understood.
To make it, it's a brand. The saying, this is
Exactly.
something that, we can't be compared. That,
That
and so you had to build up to that point. It's almost like a professional athlete training in high school and middle school to get to the final point and then be successful in college to get to the pros and then it's game on. You have to
a
do that in any industry. You have to
100%.
do.
And there are no shortcuts, it doesn't just happen overnight. It doesn't, everybody's like, oh, you're so lucky, your videos go viral. I'm like, hold on. Let me tell you. It's the
It's a
journey, but
lifelong plan.
exactly. And I knew this from a child, but I had to go through so many ups and downs and rejections and doubt. But I'll tell you, I never doubted myself. It was more that people were projecting their doubt onto me. And I just really, tunnel visioned to what I knew was possible. And so, it's amazing because we don't know what will come of our dreams. But I do know that when your day to day is committed towards that, your day to day is so fulfilled.
Yes,
So even, for both of you, it's the same thing. Like you love what you're doing so much that it
absolutely.
shows.
I wish I could just performing, meaning doing radio and television, get paid for that, and not all the other stuff I have, a marketing company and all these things. But I enjoy and love those things too. But getting to interview somebody and learn from them, and then have them be open like yourself, Chloe. Some people have, these attitudes that I need to know everything about you before interviewing you, and that's not the point.
No.
It's all about learning from the person.
Yes.
Me bringing up what you did, Chloe, when people read off in these podcasts the whole bio, it's like I want to know Chloe telling me this. And
Yes.
that's
I
because
love
that's
that.
radio and TV, not podcasting where I'm going to read an entire bio of somebody and then what am I going to interview them on? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Instead of just I'm learning from it. And so that's
I love that.
yeah. Go ahead, Jen, with your next question.
My question was of gratitude. Do you have like one moment of gratitude from in your journey?
I love that. We have this saying like always have an attitude of gratitude. And every day, morning, noon, and night, I actually in my mind say thank you. Like I say thank you. I say it. I feel it. It is the greatest through line of my life that I think has been the most valuable to all the highs and lows is being thankful. Um, I think my biggest gratitude would be to a woman in particular, Debbie Allen. When I was 16, she took me under her wing and she became my mentor. And she was so incredible because she was famous. She was really famous. When I met her at 16, she was on TV and she was directing and everything. But she took time to come to Washington, D.C. and do this youth play. And I got to be in her play. And instead of just like giving me dance steps and keeping it moving, she gave me life lessons. And then she didn't just abandon me and go, all right, cool kids, bye. She maintained a relationship with us young folks. And then when I wanted to come to LA to expand, she actually let me live at her house, her
Wow.
beautiful, beautiful house. And that was my path to my dreams. And it's all because she was generous and kind and open to giving back. And so I'm really always grateful for her. My whole family is, we sell any way I can celebrate her, I always do. Like any and every way I can.
See, that's great. You're knowing that without certain people's help, you wouldn't be where you are today. And that's giving
Yeah.
gratitude and understanding those specific things. I
Yes.
have a mentor that got me in media and radio when I was a professional wrestler. And if I wouldn't learn that stuff, even though it took 10 years till I finally used it as a craft, I wouldn't be ready for where I was because I was a shell of a person as a performer in wrestling, just this big, dumb goof that would scream and yell and would never get the mic. But once he
Yeah.
gave me the opportunity to be in front of a camera and do what I do and behind a camera and do what I do, I learned. And I always look at that as, yeah, hey, I can thank that person and look at people where I am today because of that and where I want to go. And that's what we have to have a mindset, Chloe. Kind of explain that. Now, where you're at today, you have to have a mindset. I want to be even where somewhere else next, not for myself, but because that's part of my journey to go where I
Yeah.
need, right?
Well, it's really interesting you should say that because randomly, right, sitting right next to me is my vision board of
Oh,
2021. As you can see, it's quite detailed.
yes.
Um, I have a lot of visions for my future. And on this vision board, it's in sections of areas that are important to me. So I have like my core values, and those are the things that no matter where I am or what I'm doing, I want to maintain. And then I have like the artistic endeavors that are so important to me. So I want to see tap dance on film, TV, and live stage. And I want to be executive producing that along with my sister. So that's our big thing that we're working on. I'm hoping I should be choreographing a movie this year. So that's exciting.
Definitely.
And yeah, and so, but we also have our foundation. Our foundation is all of the free programming that we give to children in need around the world. And so I hope that our program is able to just continue to grow so that kids like me can live their dreams like I am doing right now because I had a mentor and I had someone that cared.
Tremendous. All right, Jen, go ahead and wrap everything up. And Chloe, please stay on the air till after because we want to talk to you for a few minutes. But go ahead with your last question, Jen.
Well, mentoring is so important. And I'm so grateful that you had that experience with somebody who was able
Yes.
to transcend your life and bring your life into that. I want to go to two things. The Masked Dancer. Are you going to be in this? Are you going to be on it? Are you going to be one of the dancers? I look at them and I'm like, Chloe.
Jen, I love that you asked that. I've been getting a lot of similar questions and messages. So we'll see how the year unfolds because you really can't say anything about anything. But I'll say I'm totally open to it. Um, and, time will tell how that all works out.
How that unfolds with the
All right.
mask.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine you not being a part of this. I mean,
Aw.
I'm pointing at my TV. I can't imagine you not
I
being
love it.
of
Well,
that.
Jen, you're manifesting, and I
I'm
love that. And
manifesting
I
for your
appreciate
board. And because the middle of it said love, the heart of gratitude is love. So,
it. Yeah.
woman, you are a Mog. You are a woman of gratitude
Thank
and
you.
mother of gratitude
So,
for everybody that's coming up underneath you. And I want to thank you for that and applaud you.
Thank
absolutely.
you.
And
How
Chloe,
can we
where can
reach
we
you?
find info on you? Where's
Yeah.
best?
You can follow me at Chloe Arnold Taps on Instagram or Chloe Arnold, honestly, anywhere on the internet. My website's chloearnold.com.
All right, Jen, close it out.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I'm excited. I'm sorry. We've been with
Thank you. I love this. I had the best time with you all. This is so great. I'm glad we're connecting all around the country right now.
All around the world. Yeah,
Yes, the world.
absolutely. All around the
Yeah, we
world.
got to think about that world because there's again, that's what we need to have a perspective on. Is it's not just
Hello.
about the United States, the whole entire world, and how
Yes.
we can, provide great inspiration for everyone because there's lots of people struggling, not just in the United States but all over the world, and
No,
that's
this
what your
is
foundation is doing,
real.
and definitely, and you're doing tremendous stuff for sure.
Thank you. It means a lot. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Jen. You all are
Yeah.
awesome.
All right,
And
Jen.
so for everyone that wants to be inspired, go on YouTube and look at Rise Up, Chloe Arnold. She's the Emmy nominated choreographer, and she has this amazing. It's really touched me because one of the parts in it, it says that if you can distance yourself, no matter what you've gone through a rough childhood. Hello. If you can
Oh,
distance yourself from that, then you can go the distance in your own life. It's not, I'm not afraid of death. I'm afraid of not doing what I'm supposed to do with my life.
I feel you 100%.
I'm sorry. I think I have Uber
That's
Eats
okay.
here.
We're good, Jen. Okay.
So thank
You're
you,
fair.
Chloe, for being with us today. Chloe Arnold,
Yeah.
Emmy nominated choreographer. Princess Annie loves her. And thank you for being on our show today. Remember, everybody, you are blessed, you are loved, and you are sacred. Have a beautiful day.
Everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Christopher Hall Show. I'm excited to welcome to the program Dr. Christopher Hall. Dr. Hall, how are you? Thank you for your service. And how are things going?
Things are going very busy, particularly, these cases of COVID increasing. Again, very excited about the vaccines that are out. And we're working very hard to take care of patients, but I'm extremely excited about what we have today.
So introduce our guest.
No problem. Well, it's my honor and a great pleasure to introduce an individual from one of America's well-known and greatest singing families. An individual now who is pretty much taking the center spot and is coming after his father, who we know very well. Music, again, towering across the internet. Millions of people listening and seeing on YouTube this individual. And so I'm very excited to welcome to the show a wonderful father as well, Mr. Brian McKnight Jr. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Oh, man, thank you so much for that. Really, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
On another level. So happy to be here, y'all.
So, Brian, how are you dealing with the pandemic and everything? Are you in LA? Where are you located?
Yeah, man, I'm in LA, right in North Hollywood. And honestly, for me, man, it's really just been a time of obviously being locked down, but I'm kind of an introvert already, being that I'm usually in my little hub here or at the studio.
Yeah.
So I've really have just completely just dove headfirst into all my art, man, honestly. And it's really been really kind of an accelerant for me as a creator, because I've really been able to have this laser focus and start attacking some of the goals that I had set for myself at the beginning of the year that might not have gotten finished, because I really, this really gave me a light, a fire under me that I didn't have, that I know that I needed. So that moving forward into next year, man, I'm just thankful, honestly, that I was one of the fortunate people that could still work for one. And, I really wasn't derailed much by it, other than not being able to see my family, which is the hardest thing, because I'm all about family. And I'm in LA, they're on the East Coast. So that has been probably the hardest part for me, because I'd be home in North Carolina right now with my mom and everybody if it wasn't for this. So, but as an artist, man, I've just kind of have used even all that as motivation and fuel to just get it done, so that when the time comes that we are all back together, I am ready to go and can give all of myself to the people that I've been wanting to for a while now.
All right, Chris, first question for Brian.
Well, sure, well, no problem. Well, Brian, we've been listening to, these wonderful music. You know, one of the songs is "Marry Your Daughter," and I mean that's such a wonderful, beautiful song. And so, tell us a little about that. What was it like growing up in that household with your father being Broadway Knight and kind of knowing, you know, possibly what was expecting you in the future and really what now appears to be the love of your heart? What was that like?
No, I always answer this question, man. Growing up with my dad and my mom, honestly, just an incredible experience for someone who believes that they were born to do this. You know, it took a long time, honestly, until maybe last year. I used to question all the time why I was so fortunate, why I was so blessed to be born into a situation like this. And for me, that in itself has become validation, man, that this is exactly what I'm here to do. You know, what I do appreciate my dad for is that he always instilled in me and my younger brother that we could do whatever we wanted and that we could be the best at it if we applied ourselves. And with that motivation, coupled with the way that my mother was so open with letting us be ourselves and to grow into who we wanted to be as men, I think only allowed us to cultivate our talents in a way that a lot of young kids, especially young Black kids, really didn't and still maybe don't get a chance to. And for me, I don't take that for granted at all. You know, we grew up constantly in class. You know what I mean? And I was a terrible student in regular school, but in life and in music, I was a sponge to everything. I would literally sit on my father's hip when he was working or when he was writing or when he was sitting at the piano. I literally learned how to play piano from just watching my dad's hands for years. And one day he finally told me, just go sit down and play. And I've been playing ever since. And then as a songwriter, having my mom as well as a prolific author, as just an incredible songwriter herself, that couple, literally, I am a perfect product of both of those just lights, you know what I mean? And it was definitely both sides of the equation. My mom being, you know, all positive, all just, you know, a literal angel. And then my dad is my dad, you know what I mean? And I appreciate it so much now that I figure I turned 31 this year. So I've had this accelerated life from 11 to 27 that was just a constant, you know, train of not really knowing what I was getting myself into in any way, but really having a support system and enough life experience to be able to kind of say, okay, I understand now. I see what not to do in this certain particular situation. And I've been able to apply that to my music, to my business, and to now being a father myself and instilling these things into my son. And that in itself, that full circle moment, knowing that I am going to be able to break down even a lot of the generational curses from, you know, my dad, and his dad has become even the foundation of a lot of the things I do as well. So, you know, it was the best learning experience ever, to give it the Cliff Notes. You know, the best learning experience ever growing up in my house.
It sounds like it's so much. And then you
Awesome.
said classes in session. So
Yeah, always.
Explain that kind of process. You said you were working with your father, but your father always wants you to be a musician. Was that a hope of his?
Well, what's interesting, man, is he really wanted me to go to the NBA. I probably could have done it.
Really?
And yeah, man. I played from 6 to, really played from maybe, almost 20 years, to be honest. I was able to play overseas. I was able to play pro-am here and there. Me and my dad were one of the best two men in the country for a while there. We couldn't be beat. So for him, when I turned 16 and finally came to him and was like, listen, man, I want to do what you do. Like, I've been writing songs since I was 9. I've been producing songs since I was 11. I feel like it should be kind of obvious that this is where I want to go with my life. And we had that butting heads moment. And what I told my dad all the time was, where he messed up was taking my brother and I on tour with him and allowing me to really experience that next level for just even a manifestation method of going out on stage and getting that energy back from that crowd. And being able to have that happen with my own music, my brother and I would come out and literally kick my dad off stage and perform 2 or 3 of our own songs.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, man, there's still, maybe watching my little one born is probably the only feeling maybe comparable to what that feeling is like, And
how many, 20,000 people?
22,000, I think, was our biggest show.
It's crazy.
And imagine, man, that particular show was in Taipei, Taiwan. And this is people that had no idea who me and my brother were, really. Definitely didn't know any of our songs. But by the end of our second song, to see them singing with us up out of their seats in this soccer stadium, that was the moment for me. I actually have the most epic picture my brother took of me during sound check from that I still look at all the time, just to remind me of where I've been and where I'd like to go. And I'm just sitting at the piano, and you just see this huge arena behind me. And it's moments like that. Again, like I told my dad, I was like, man, if you really wanted me to hoop, you should have just sent me to Jordan camp, and that was it. But I appreciate it so much, man.
Put you in front of the audience, forget it. Because
that was it.
The crowd, yeah.
That was it, man. That was a defining moment. My brother and I was 17, so figuring my brother was 14 years old when we started touring. And we toured for almost 8 years straight. So in terms of paying our dues, and in terms of, really having to learn who we were pretty quick. That's another one of those experiences that I'm so thankful for, and definitely don't take for granted at all.
All right, Chris, next question.
Wow. That's very interesting. How Brian says that, this whole learning process, integrating what we see, what we learn from our parents, what they do and what they don't do, and then how we use that in our lives. And one thing I noticed that Brian has done is he has invested a lot in family structure and community. And so, sir. Brian, tell us a little bit about that. How important is that, particularly in the Black community, investing in family and in community?
Man, honestly, I love this question because I don't get asked this question often. But family and community, man, are huge for me because I myself know I grew up quite privileged in many, many ways. And one of those ways was that I have an incredibly huge family. And especially on my mama's side, every single thing that we do is ingrained in family, taking care of the family, and then extending that love out into the community. My grandfather, the paterfamilias of the family, my mama's daddy, a preacher, one of the most prolific preachers in the South. His brother wrote the hymnal that's in every Seventh-day Adventist or Baptist church. Those songs came from my family. So even that in itself fills me with so much pride, and also gives me, I feel obligated to extend that to my generation, because I feel so bad for a lot of my peers that really don't have that. And I'm not even getting into like the fatherhood side, because that's a whole nother, conversation. I feel like even that I would love to begin to touch on. But the one thing my grandfather instilled in me as the firstborn grandson was family must come first, because at the end of the day, I could fall. But if I have that support system that I know I can lean on, that has my back through anything, I can call any one of my uncles right now, which you don't want me to do because things are going to get handled. And that for me, again, just makes me, I just know I'm so blessed to have that in my life as a focal point, to now be able to go out and teach, and to be able to instill this into who will become my fans, to let them know that, if you take care of home first, everything else you touch is probably going to excel. And then you'll only be able to each one and teach one that situation. And I think we've seen a breakdown of the family structure for a long time now. And I believe that the bringing music and that kind of teaching together is what's going to kind of bring those family values back to the forefront. And I definitely plan on being a huge pioneer in that area, especially for the Black community, but not only for the Black community. though that I do believe the Black community, especially in these particular areas, are places where people for a long time definitely got a lot of their inspiration from. It seems to me like it's time to bridge that gap even more on a more universal level now. And again, I definitely want to lead those conversations going forward.
Absolutely. Now, Brian, you're acting. You
Incredible.
act as well. So you didn't
Oh,
just
yeah.
talk about singing, acting. Explain a little bit of
Definitely.
the acting, and I know then Chris wants to get into more of your story, but talk about your acting.
Oh yeah, man. Acting has definitely been and has become more and more of a passion of mine. I did my first film, Note to Self, back in I think 2016. Shout out to my boy Christian Keys. And that gave me the bug. And then a few summers ago, I was fortunate enough to do my first lead in a comedy with two real buddies of mine back home in North Carolina. That's called Freshman Friday. And it's just a feel good, raunchy comedy that you throw on late night with your friends if you just want to laugh. And it was just so much fun for me. I didn't go to college, so having that 2-week experience where we filmed right on the campus with all of my peers and really got to experience a little bit of that dorm life, that cafeteria life, and just walking around that campus, playing ball with the team, gave me even more inspiration. It gave me an entirely new palette to write from, and I wouldn't have had that if I wouldn't have gotten into acting. And even with a lot of what I'm going to be putting out next year, I plan on flexing that muscle a lot. And I'm really, really excited about that. My lady and I are writing a few shorts. So yeah, man, it's definitely a field I feel like I've always wanted to get into. It started from wanting to just do soundtracks and score films, but now it's seeming like I would love to direct, write, star in, and score one. So, that's definitely the dream.
All right, Chris, next question.
Wow. I mean, just a awesome response. And that's the thing that Brian points out, particularly during this time period, is that, and particularly during Christmas, this is actually a time of celebration for families.
Yeah.
And the extended family, we talk about the Black community, and of course, this is America, so we have multi-ethnic communities across the country, rural areas. And so as a country and as a nation, we are a family, okay?
Yeah.
And our national anthem it means a lot. And I've seen you and Nico and your dad sing that national anthem. And so tell me, it's beautiful. Watching you three sing it. I've seen it before. And, tell me kind of what does that mean to you? You guys sing the national anthem. I mean, the crowds love it.
Man,
tell me about that.
Those are still some of my favorite moments that I share with my brother and my dad, to be honest, just because we were really able to perform it in places where it really meant something. We did it at NASCAR. I was able to do it for the veterans 2 years in a row now. And it's really one of those times where the time does stop. You can feel the rooms, you can feel that silence, you could hear the people invested in listening to that because they are, this is where we're from, man. And I think this year in particular, filled me with an even more patriotic just vibe, just because it's time, man. It's time for unity. It's time to make those words ring true again, I believe. And it's going to take another level of coming together that I feel like we're ready for. I feel like, again, if this year showed us anything, it's time for us to kind of let go of all of these petty differences, work through them, but let's get to where we're all working together on the big issues. That's really my hope and my dream, is that, we all finally realize that we're in this together, that we are one, and that we can really get some things done if we can just move past some of these surface level issues that have been plaguing us for a long time. So whenever I'm given the opportunity to specifically sing that song, I truly try my best to put all of my heart and soul in it. So, because I feel like that's what it's deserving of,
Exactly.
So it's definitely, it's something I really, really appreciate the opportunity to do. And I look forward to really doing it a lot more often on much bigger stages next year.
So let's talk, Brian, about
Awesome.
the Christmas album and all the Christmas song and everything coming out.
Man, so we dropped our first Christmas single officially on all platforms this year, Christmas Eve with You. My buddy Brandon Williams produced it, and I had another great friend of mine, Matt Cuson, come and feature on it with me. And it's one of my favorite tunes I feel like I've done, because I'm a Christmas carol. I'm a caroler at heart. I sing Christmas carols all year. And I've always wanted to put my bit in at the shot of having a classic Christmas song that comes around every year, like Mariah Carey's. And I truly believe that by next year, especially when I drop my full Christmas album, we're going to get there. Because it's my favorite time of year. Like I said, always, it was my time where I knew for sure I would be with all my families. I'd be seeing all my cousins. And this year, I think, gosh, man, with not being able to do that, it has really made me cherish those memories even more. So though I was really glad we were able to get this song out the way that we did. It was pretty quick. We might have a video coming this week. But either way, I'm just so thankful we got that out, and the people are loving it. So I'm so thankful.
That's great. All right, Chris, again, we heard all the different things now. You have one more question for Brian before we have our summary?
I certainly do. And this question, it's a central question and a central theme actually of history. And there's time throughout our history and throughout history in general, when the prince steps out from the royal family, and sometimes the pressure is just so great, and really they cannot express their natural God-given gifts. That's obviously not the case in your situation. Tell us a little bit about handling that pressure, though. It's always pressure being in the limelight, and tell us about that. How do you handle that kind of pressure?
Man, how personally for me, and I'm usually tight-lipped about saying it, but I really don't feel much pressure. I think the beauty of, and what I appreciate the most about my particular journey and my particular childhood, for one, and then my years that I truly had to grow as a man, I always kind of knew and already had an innate, knowledge of everything it was going to take and all that it was going to entail for me to get there. And it really has taken a lot of the pressure off of knowing, it's always been my goal to step out in the limelight. It's always been my goal to kind of take the reins of the family name, and take it to new heights. And having my mom and dad always there letting me know that I can do that. My dad was constantly telling me, bro, you're already better than me. You really don't, it gave me so much confidence, and not in a conceited way, not in a cocky way, but more so just, I just have so much belief in myself, man. I have so much belief in my brother and my mama and everyone that I plan on bringing with me, to where it's really not all on me. I think, just to be honest, I think one of the things I learned from my dad's personal situation was that it was really all on him at that time. So I personally still can't completely imagine what that pressure must have felt like for him, but I've got an idea. You know what I mean? And hopefully in the future, I will get that opportunity to really talk to my dad and really finally pick his brain to really figure out what he was going through at that time that may have led him to make some of the decisions that he's made, which has allowed me to learn everything almost not to do. So even that in itself, man, has given me so much, again, confidence in knowing that all I have to really do is stay ready. I have to stay ready in practice. I have to stay ready in performance. And again, that really alleviates a lot of the pressure. So what I teach a lot of my mentorees and the young artists that, are coming up, not underneath me, but beside me, is, if you are ready, if you are in that constant state of evolution and in practice, that pressure will fall away. Because we really only put that pressure on ourselves. A lot of people believe, and we've been taught for a while, that it comes outwardly. But no, it's usually on us. It comes from wanting to be a perfectionist, for one, wanting to be the best, and wanting to impress the people whose opinions matter to us. So when you take all that into account and just make sure that you are constantly the best version of yourself at that moment, you will see the jitters, the nerves, everything kind
That's
of flies out of the
Yeah,
window.
that's awesome.
So
And
that's
it's
really what I
amazing
want
how
to
you
do.
Incredible.
do it and deal with the pressure of your dad and his success and to try
Yeah.
to hopefully develop that to get to that level. Now, Chris, go ahead with summarizing Brian McKnight Jr.
No problem. It's been incredible having Brian McKnight Jr. on the show today. He has stepped forward. He's brought some great principles out that as Americans we need to hear. A lot of it is not what he said, it's what we hear in his voice. Be the best, perfect, family, community, help those who are less fortunate, although we may come from a more fortunate background.
Yes.
So I'm very, very excited, waiting and still watching him and as he ascends and extends the legacy of this musical royal family that he comes from. What better message could we have during Christmas than what Brian McKnight Jr. has just said?
Excellent.
So
Yeah.
thank you very much, Brian, for coming on the show today.
Oh,
And
thank
we
y'all
look
for having
forward
me.
to your success.
Absolutely,
I
Brian.
appreciate it so
This
much.
place we can check out. Where can we download the single, the Christmas single, and all that stuff? Where can we go? Where's best place?
Man, so I am literally at Brian McKnight Jr. everywhere across all platforms, and I'm on iTunes, Spotify, everything. And it's all up right now, man. So I'm really excited.
All right, Brian. Thanks for stopping by.
No,
Appreciate
thank you so
it.
much.
Merry Christmas to you and your family, and appreciate you stopping
Merry
by.
Christmas, Brian.
Likewise,
thank
y'all.
you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Take care. All right, that was again the Dr. Christopher All Show, guys. Take care.